I think what you both just said just beautifully illustrates one of the biggest challenges of writing this, which is the range of coaching. Coaching isn't one thing, right? Some coaches work very much on the facilitative spectrum, sometimes called pure coaching. I mean, most coaching schools that I know, they would teach coaching as how it's been often defined in the coaching psychology literature, as something that is facilitative, right? The coach doesn't have an agenda, the coach doesn't teach, the coach doesn't give opinions. The coach holds space and creates a space where somebody else can learn, but they don't give answers, they ask questions, right? They help you figure some things out, but not by taking you by the hand and guiding you through a process. They're not giving you the answers. Maybe they guide you by the process so that you can find your own answers. And then we transition into the other spectrum, end of the spectrum, which is coach me through this, right? The kind of coach that really takes you by the hand and gives you answers, the more mentoring, consulting, teaching kind of coach. And there is a spectrum of coaching that offers suggestions and advice and knowledge. The coach tells a story, the coach shares an experience of theirs, right? And especially in the preparation process, that can come in super handy, and many clients would look for that. They would expect their coach to say, look, intentions are important, certain settings are important, here's a book I want you to read, here's a conversation that you should have, here are a couple of questions that you should be asking your sitter or your guide or the retreat center that you're going to. So there's a lot of advice that a coach can give. In my books, that's not really coaching. That's more like a mentoring or a teaching or consulting or, but also under the banner of coaching, that is definitely also coaching. So I've kind of made my peace. I got trained in a very facilitative way. So for many years, I was like, no, this is coaching. And what other people are doing or give advice and mentor or consult or teach, they are not coaches. But they call themselves coaches, so they are coaches. It's an unregulated profession. So the challenge here is that, well, if you're a coach who brings in a lot of their own experience, if you're a coach who's also a guide, or if you're a coach who's offering a lot of knowledge and wisdom, that's going to be really helpful. If you're the kind of coach on the other end of the spectrum that holds space and doesn't give answers, but instead of saying, here's what you need to know, to, well, how could you find out? How could you learn? What could you read? What have you considered? Who do you know in this space who has knowledge, who you could learn from? Right? I, as a coach, I don't need to give any answers. And I personally, I don't want to work in this way because it puts a lot of responsibility on me. And also everybody's journey is different. So I operate from this facilitative, existential kind of person-centered lens. But other coaches, they really don't, and they do fantastic work. So that's the range of coaching, and it's difficult to write a paper with such a broad definition, or rather hundreds of definitions. So I like to kind of have a balanced view on it, especially at the beginning. So hopefully what we can bring across is that, hey, coaching isn't one thing, but here are some elements that they tend to have in common, right? Help people learn, expand, grow, and you can do that in many different ways. And some of these ways of coaching, they're very conducive to psychedelic work, and others maybe less so, right? So the line gets blurry to therapeutic work because especially high-dose psychedelic experiences, they can go really deep, they can open up a lot of doors. And as a coach, how far are you willing and able to go? How deep a space are you willing and able to hold for a client? And what kind of methodology, what kind of theoretical lens might be conducive to working with psychedelics, or rather around psychedelics, as I like to call it, right? Because we can talk about this later, but like I don't think at this stage it's safe to work as a coach while somebody's on the experience. We can open that a little bit later, but yeah, the range of coaching is enormous. So writing a paper, taking that into account, was a bit of a challenge.